broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everybody, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is The 100, Season 2, Episode 11, Coup de Grace. Joining me today, oh, by the way, I am Tauri Miller. And
Hi, Tauri.
Hi.
Hi, Tauri.
Joining me today are my fabulous co-hosts, Ben Bateman.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
And Alexis Torres.
Oh, so fast. Hi, I'm Alexis. Jeez.
It'll be okay.
I'm so slow.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, leave us a rating review. As you know, we're available on iTunes and YouTube and also SoundCloud. So everywhere you want to be is where we are. So make sure also when we're not doing the show to keep track of us on our social medias. So I'll start with myself. I am Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. That's TauriJay. Ben Bateman, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on every social media platform at Ben Bateman Media, but preferably Twitter and Instagram. Ben Bateman Media.
He's so on point today.
Right?
You can find me everywhere on Instagram and Twitter at atorres890, and I got a new Facebook page. I don't know if you guys got that.
Nice.
That's great. I if I haven't liked it yet, I got the notification to like it. I intend to like it. I might have already liked it.
I'm like, Tara got on it.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm on
right
it.
on the dot. Where
And
have
you guys
been?
should too.
But I like
Find
you,
Alexis.
so that's good.
Yes.
And also make sure to follow us on the hashtag ABTV the 100. So let's get into it.
Yes,
General
please.
thoughts on the episode?
The episode was crazy.
Pretty awesome.
I feel like there was
Really
so
good.
much torture. I tweeted to the writers earlier today that I was like, so did anybody else feel like this episode was just full of cutting, stabbing, needles?
Yeah, a lot of violence for
yeah,
sure.
It was more rough, I feel like, this time around.
It's everything you want from a 100
No,
episode.
that's literally what it was, and I thought it was fantastic, and I loved every minute of it. But I was just, I think I wrote in my notes, giant effing needle in the beginning. It was huge. Poor Bellamy. That whole opening scene with barely any dialogue or anything, of just watching them go through the cleaning, and it gave me chills. I didn't like that at all.
Absolutely. One of the first things I noticed was that we've been talking recently about how there's like the tone at Mount Weather, and then there's the tone on the ground, and how they're very different. And things on the ground seem to like be very real.
Yeah.
They definitely shifted Mount Weather into the real zone, which to me was like, yeah, that needed to happen. The other thing was like kind of a novelty, but it's like, yeah, it's one show. I don't need to just have, the 100 light going on at Mount Weather and then all the cool stuff on the ground.
Makes
So that was good. I was happy about that.
Yeah, I felt like it really culminated together really well.
Yeah, so here's my, I'm going to jump off, because I know we did this like 2 weeks ago before we had the lovely Ricky Whittle last week, which was just a treat for all of us. And if any of you didn't check that episode out, please do. He was fantastic as well. We did a Spotlight On interview where we got to talk to Ricky Whittle, and it was awesome. He was great. So, but 2 weeks ago, we did like a little poll with you guys, like a top 10 thing.
Yeah.
And everybody, you guys were talking about your favorite characters.
Yes.
This week, I wanted to go a step further, because this episode to me was like really about badasses. Like, there's a lot of really cool characters in the 100 now they're developing. I mean, Clark just came into her own, and Octavia is becoming like almost like the best character in the whole show. And like Indra's super cool, and we didn't even see Lexa, and she's great. But top 10 badasses on the 100. What's your list? That's what I want to know.
I think I only have like a top 5.
Yeah, it's true. Because
No. I mean, I'm trying to think of an actual amount of 10. It's really hard unless you start going from like badass to like you're doing.
Right. Yeah. You exist. And you've once held a weapon. So yeah, let's limit to top 5.
Maybe 5, because they don't even really give Raven enough like screen time to be a badass right now. Maybe she'll become one again, but yeah, I mean they're obviously.
I mean, she stood her ground though a lot this episode. I mean, even
agreed.
though she didn't really have much to say, everything that came out of her mouth, she was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
she was pretty. Yeah, I mean, we obviously love Lindsay Morgan on this show. It's not a secret. But
No, not at all.
Tweet us.
So let's get started on some stuff.
Cool,
We're gonna get
sure.
some stuff.
Where do you want to even start?
I'd like to talk about Bellamy first, since you mentioned the slicing and the needles and all that stuff.
It was just crazy because in my brain I actually didn't know what was going on, and then you were like, they're cleaning him, and I was like, they're what?
They're cleaning him.
I remember bath time, but that's not what I remember.
I like my favorite moment of that when you were like, "Why would you bathe him if you're just gonna bleed him?" It's like, and it makes sense.
I don't know. What was the phrase that we brought up? It was something about a cow.
Oh, because I equated it to you going, "Why would they clean the cow if we're just gonna eat it?" And it makes sense.
It does. I don't know.
I just thought it was funny that we haven't had a shirtless Bellamy moment since season 1, but this one was like hanging upside down in your underwear with black eyes.
Right.
It was like that's the new
bleeding out.
That's the new shirtless Bellamy. It's no longer like guns with 2 women coming out of my tent. It's like you're a cow and you're gonna get like cut with a scalpel. It's like a little different tone for shirtless Bellamy this time.
I didn't even think about that. I'm
Character
so
growth.
glad you brought that up.
Well, I feel like, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
There was another parallel going on with Bellamy, because when we first meet him, he was a security guard on the Ark.
Right.
Ooh, before you continue with that, I don't mean to interrupt, but there's an awesome person, Kelly, how would you say that? Quintana? I guess?
Yeah, Quintana.
And she's like Bellamy dressing up as a guard again, throwback to day one.
Ah,
And I didn't think about that until she
nice.
said something. I was like, hey,
Our fans are quite smart.
they're so
Seriously.
smart. I love that. But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh no, I mean that's exactly what I was saying. Like, it was a nice throwback, because I mean it helped you believe that he could play this part as he's walking through Mount Weather.
Yep.
But leading up to that part, we get him upside down, and while that's going on, Maya is going around the infirmary looking for Jasper's friends and everything. And one of the security guards, I believe his name was Lovejoy.
At least his last name was Lovejoy. I don't remember his first name.
Dead Lovejoy.
Dead Lovejoy.
He notices that the treatment is going at an accelerated pace of the person who's currently in the infirmary.
Right.
And she goes to investigate and finds Bellamy.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
So
He was quite easy to find, it seemed.
I know. I was like, oh, look, a door. Oh, look, a person hanging from the ceiling. It must be one of them.
Right.
Like,
So go ahead, finish up.
Oh no! I mean, I was glad that they acknowledged later how he knew who she was.
yeah.
So she mentions at one point, she says, everybody here knows each other. And when we first meet Maya, it's at the beginning of season 2, and she's essentially working as a nurse. Clark takes her with, I believe she like holds a knife to her throat because she's trying to escape her quarantined room.
Yeah.
Maya gets cut and I think ends up getting treated, right? That's what happens. So one thing I think is interesting is that since that's happened, and I know we're talking like we watched the show over weeks, but actually what's happening is over the course of maybe 10 or 12 days probably.
Right.
We haven't seen Maya working as a nurse or in any kind of protected gear working as a nurse since that happened.
Yeah.
So her ability to just like, access a room, find Bellamy, though it seemed a little strange, that's kind of what I think she was cleared to do before all this started. I don't know if it's because she had the scare where she got the radiation burns when there was the leak that she's not allowed to or something
Right.
happened.
Like she's on leave or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we need to remember that she was somebody who did that stuff. So it's not that weird that she would know where to go and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, and I like that Lovejoy kind of pointed that out when he came in. He was like, hey, you're not cleared for this room. But so that means that she's probably cleared for a lot of other places in Mount Weather.
Yeah.
This one obviously is restricted access. So, it was interesting because it made me think of like, oh, wow, she does have a lot of power.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Sure.
So I found that kind of interesting.
How do you guys like Maya's character so far? What are you guys thinking?
I was tweeting out earlier to the writers how I really, really loved the fact that she, I don't know how to pronounce, put it into words. I really love the fact that she went from this kind of like mousy, she's just in love with
Right,
Jasper, and the fact that she can just think on her feet and she's moving and she's constantly just knowing like what to say and what to do, and it was kind of nice to see her in more of like a leadership role.
Yeah.
Because Bellamy doesn't know where he's going.
Right.
So it helps to make it, to have somebody like Maya just go from this cute little mousy girl to being like, I can think of anything right
Sure.
on the
Yeah,
spot.
she had a lot of really good moments.
She did.
The helping take down the guard, the elevator scene where she
She steps
helps him
up.
escape. Leading him around, and that moment when they're with the children and
Yeah, that hit me
in all the fields.
Yeah, like literally, I mean, I love it because I was sitting there going, wow, this kid's really cute. Why does he have lines? He's going to be Lovejoy's kid.
Oh, yeah, of
and he
course.
was.
And he was. That kid was so cute. It just broke my heart. Even before you saw that his name was Lovejoy, my heart was breaking because you knew it was coming. God, heartstrings.
I don't know.
Maya, one of the things I thought was really interesting watching tonight was it's a very subtle development of her character they've given us. It's taken quite a while. I didn't really appreciate or like her character beginning of the season. I didn't dislike her. I just was like, she's kind of whatever. It's irrelevant.
Right.
But it was nice to see, again, like they've done so many times, they lay the groundwork by just having certain people in episodes for long enough that when they do give them the lines and they do give them that development, it doesn't feel so abrupt.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, except for Miller, but
Okay.
Miller just showed up out of nowhere. I mean,
Yeah, he kind of did.
yeah.
That's how we Millers do.
Yeah.
Oh my
By the way,
word.
has
I
anybody,
just got that. I was like, haha, very funny. Very funny.
has anybody noticed, by the way, that Miller looks like Russell Wilson? I mean, I noticed this last week and I forgot to say it. He does, right?
Yeah,
Looks
I can
just
see
like
it.
him.
Yeah.
I could totally see it. I
Yeah.
never thought about that.
If somebody wants to like put to side together and tweet that out,
Please, I wanna
I would
see.
love to see it.
Yes.
think it'd
And
be
you
awesome.
have our Twitters. But yeah. Anyway, so we have Maya leading Bellamy through Mount Weather, and we leave off there, and I'm gonna jump ahead to more of the Jasper and Dante stuff because Bellamy's moment comes later in the episode.
Right.
So
Wait, you say Dante or
Dante.
Okay, I was like, wait, what are we
Good
talking about right
old
now?
Dante.
You know, Monte. So while all this is going on with Bellamy, we have Jasper on the brink of insanity because his friends are disappearing. He has to
friend is
pretend like
gone.
Yeah.
and he has to pretend like things are normal, but he is on edge because at any moment any of his friends or even himself can be taken to get who knows what done to them. Essentially, their blood drained. He doesn't know about the marrow stuff yet.
Yeah, not yet.
And so he goes to confront Dante, and he pulls a sword on him.
And I was
cool.
just like, no, like, stop. I mean, I actually was quite surprised. Well, okay, I was kind of in the middle of how President Dante was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to help you. And I was like, what? But I forgot, like, what we were talking about earlier of how he actually was against the whole...
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he was trying... I don't think he was trying to free them, but he didn't agree with what his son was trying to do. So it was kind of nice to see him go, like, we're going to get your friends out and you need to leave.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my hands, dirty of you guys anymore.
Yeah.
So this begs the question, because he turned on a dime when Jasper has the sword at his throat. Takes the sword back. He says, I did lie to you. Let's go find your friends.
Right.
So he said it in a way that was like, I know there's some funny business going on. I kind of know I know what I'm going to find, sort of thing. Like,
Right.
he knew in the back of his head that there was some funny business going on. He didn't want to confront, maybe. Do you guys think that that's lazy from the part of the writing to have things like switch around so fast? Like, where it's, I'm going to hold a sword to your throat. And then he's like, oh, well, that's enough for me to just, I don't know, thwart the plan that my son is probably hatching behind my back that I kind of subconsciously know is going on that could ruin everything.
No, because
I don't think so.
He didn't know that it was actually moving forward. He knew that his son and Dr. Singh had this desire. And we've established that he wants to, he essentially wants the best for these kids. He doesn't want that I forget what the Dante legacy.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Wallace. He doesn't want the Wallace
go.
legacy
Yeah.
to be, bathed in the blood of
Right.
of the Sky People.
And at the same time, like, I just feel like he kind of just doesn't want... He knows what's going on, but I think he wants... The more that he's not involved, the more he doesn't really have to have it weigh on his conscience. At least that's what I'm thinking what the writers are doing.
Yeah.
That's why he's just seizing an opportunity of like, wait a minute, I really like Jasper. I actually like all of his friends, and, I want to keep my people safe. Maybe this is my opportunity to sit here and just get rid of them, and not in a deadly fashion.
Right.
Right. It's a lot of complication that's just sort of on his mind now that he could
Yeah.
maybe, he's older. Things could just go back to the way they were because he had lived a good life for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially before these guys showed up, too.
Right. before, when he made that declaration of trying to find their friends,
Right.
did you guys feel like he was going to succeed? Or because whenever someone makes a heroic
Yeah.
declaration,
Yeah.
and this might be my Game of Thrones training, but I assume
Yeah,
that
right.
they're
I was
going
on
to
the
die.
same boat. Yeah, I was like, oh, he's gonna take him somewhere, and he's gonna trick him, and he's gonna be with Monty, but he's gonna be in a cage. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Is that he was gonna trick them, but at the same time, I was really hoping that he would help them, and well, that's what he did. So
Well, so yeah, he goes and he finds Dr. Singh and his son and the kids, and you see Harper, who's still alive, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, this poor girl
Yeah,
has been on the table for I don't even know how many days now.
Yeah.
and big ups to her for staying in the show. I mean, it's a bit part that is you're sort of when you thought she was gonna die, it was like, okay, this was a vehicle to just show us that somebody's dying as a kid. But they kept her in the show, and she'll show up again. So hats off to her as an actress for staying in the 100.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially with all of these
yeah.
problems that have been happening to her.
Yeah,
Like, I feel so bad.
she may be in a wheelchair going forward, possibly. I don't really know how bone marrow works in this show. We'll find out.
Right.
But so President Wallace finds his son, Dr. Singh, and he's like, take my son into custody. You're a stain on our legacy. And this is when the mutiny happens.
Right.
The son says, take my father into quarantine. Now, I had this moment that was sort of like, it's not that I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
I expected it would eventually happen. It was the way that it happened was very abrupt.
Okay.
In fact, from the moment that Jasper walks into President Wallace's office to President Wallace ending up in quarantine,
Okay.
it happened in the course of like 10 minutes in the show or 15 minutes in real time in the show, which to me was sort of like, why didn't we have a little bit more of an Easter egg dropped that, in fact, the son was talking to the guards and, in fact, he was planning on overthrowing his father because, like he says, I've only ever wanted to make you happy or give you your dream, I think is what he says. Mm-hmm. And it just feels, to me, it felt like a very villainous, take my father into quarantine. It's like he's fully betraying his dad.
Right.
And that defies what seems to be his, or he's claimed to be, and it seems that his drive this whole time was he wanted to make his father happy and proud, and that was the point.
Right. But I think that at the moment that he decided to move forward with the experiment, or I guess the marrow stealing, that was his moment of essentially transcending
Betrayal,
his father's
right?
wishes.
Yeah.
Because for me, I think that it wasn't subtle. I think because every time you've seen him from that moment on, he's been with at least one guard, and the guard has been aware of what's been going on.
Sure.
True.
And so it only makes sense that he has been seeding this idea that, like, we could all be free amongst the people, because there's only 300 and change people in Mount Weather.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like going to a small town and going, hey guys, you want to be free? Well, all we need to do is get rid of 47 people and you're in the clear.
And my dad doesn't agree, but who cares?
Yeah, he's old. Old people make bad decisions.
That's a terrible thing to say. I was kind of on a totally different spectrum. I actually didn't mind his betrayal being like extremely subtle, because I always feel like it was actually more devious of him to not, for as the viewer, to not know what the crap's going on. Like I think we were all expecting the mutiny to happen, like what you said.
Right.
But I feel like the fact that it just happened just kind of throws us off, like, okay, we're on a new change now. Like, I feel like it's enough time for people to be in shock, but also know what's going on. So I think the writers were going more for a shock factor. I don't know. That's what I got from that.
Well, they also gave us a villain, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we needed.
Yeah,
I agree.
They hadn't given us a specific villain yet. I mean, they had previously. We'd had them, but this is the guy that really seems like he's gonna be the face. This is the what the heck is his name? The son that. Spoiler alert, Game of Thrones. Everybody wants to see die forever.
You're talking about Joffrey.
Joffrey.
Yeah, Joffrey.
This is the Joffrey.
Yeah.
He's not quite on Joffrey's level because that's one of the most like villainous people that's ever existed
Right.
on television.
Every time someone says his name, I just want to like.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it's good because especially with the way that the episode ends, it's great that we now have a finite, or like a single point of focus.
Yeah.
Because in the first season, they were fighting the weather and an idea and like this concept. And up until now, they have been fighting themselves and their potential adversaries.
Yeah.
Right.
But now it's like this guy is standing between you and all of your friends.
True. Yeah.
Can we just ask where the heck was? I keep saying heck. Can I say hell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
If they can say it in PG movies.
Yeah.
I know.
Where the hell was Lincoln? Where was Ricky Whittle? They do this thing on the show where it's pretty clear that they have a character or a series of characters have an arc on an episode, and then the next episode they just won't be in any scenes. They just won't be there at all.
They do that in TV shows a lot, though, especially in the CW, where they they'll focus on one character in one episode, and then that character you won't see, kind of, and then focus on the other people, especially in a big cast like this.
Yeah.
So I do feel bad that we didn't get to see Ricky, especially since we spent so much time with him last week or 2 weeks ago.
I'm worried about the guy.
Well, I mean, if you think about the scale of time that this episode takes place over, it's only like 30 minutes to an hour in showtime.
Right.
Which means that, knowing any drug high, he's probably still laying in those tunnels.
He's probably still just high, rolling around, looking for like a cheeseburger to eat. He's like, he's
oh my gosh,
he's fiending.
He's eating Lovejoy right now.
Oh no! Don't say that. Don't say that.
It's what Reapers do. They
really
eat
sad.
people and Lovejoy.
They threw him down a chute. I don't remember if that goes to the tunnels or not. Does it?
It does. All the dead bodies go down to the Reapers and they eat them, and it's great. Everyone has a party.
Oh, speaking of Ricky Whittle eating, which I know we've talked about before, I know we've said that aside from human flesh, he clearly just eats protein, only protein. She made us cookies last week.
Oh my god, I forgot that we were bringing this up.
That were delicious, and I had like 3 of them, and he had like 3 of them. The man is a robot.
He ate more than that.
Yeah,
I saw
ate
him.
a bunch.
The guy is,
cookies.
as well as being the nicest guy we've probably ever met in our life, he can apparently eat anything he wants and still be...
Like when he was talking about chocolate, like I was sitting there going, I can't eat chocolate morning, noon, and night. How
Unbelievable.
dare you? And he looks like that?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Well, he probably works out a lot.
Well, he said that he did, and he used to play soccer, so I assume that, he's just a fit person. But at the same time, I was just like, I hate you, because I can eat chocolate, and I'm just...
We're getting sucked back into the vortex of the charm of Ricky Whittle.
Speaking of fit...
It happens every time.
The Sky people are struggling to fit in with the Grounders.
That was clever.
Thank you.
Should we talk about... Do you want to talk about iTunes real fast before we get into that?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about iTunes. Hi, guys. I'm glad you're here. You can either hear or see me because you are on YouTube, iTunes, or SoundCloud. And you know what? I believe that you're listening to this for free. And free is the greatest price ever, right?
Free is fantastic.
And you know how you can help us keep these free content up to its highest potential? You can go on iTunes and rate us 5 stars if you love what we're doing, 4 stars if you think we can improve, and if we can, leave us a comment, right?
Those are the only stars.
And let us know how we can best serve you. It helps us to give you the best show possible. Also, it boosts us in iTunes Store and lets other people find us and increases our fan base so people like you can also enjoy this great 100 panel. So do the thing and like, subscribe, comment, and rate.
Do the thing.
Indeed.
I just tweeted that Ricky Whittle loves cookies. I just remembered. I had to share that. I had to share it. It's something I meant to share last week because we saw it in person. And
Right.
And also... awesome fans, after reading all of your guys' comments from our last one, it makes us really happy that you guys were really happy that Ricky was on here, because we had so much fun. So we really appreciate that you guys loved the episode last week, especially because he was on it. So, and we love you guys.
Interacted like crazy. I guess if you're still watching, which I hope you are, the secondary list of 10, we'll say 3 this time. Give us your top 3 people that you'd want us to get on the show. Because we're really we're working hard to try to get a few other guests on before the season's over.
Yeah.
And we tweet at people all the time, and obviously we wanted to get Lindsay Morgan. This show is filled with actors that live all over the world, is what we're finding.
Yeah.
Several of them live in Canada, several of them live in Australia, England. A couple of people live in LA, but it's all over the place. So who we can get is actually dependent sometimes on just who's ever in Los Angeles, because they're filming in Vancouver, but they leave Vancouver and go back to Australia, so we can't actually get them here. But we're going to keep trying this season and next season. So top 3 in order, and as well as letting us know, tweet at them. please.
Yes, please.
And let them know that they should come on AfterBuzz TV, because as we found out from Ricky, they do pay attention and they like our show and they actually are invested in what we're doing. And if you let them know, hopefully we can get some more people in here and hang out with them and talk to them for you guys.
I love it because a lot of people were like, "Can Ricky just be on the panel all the time?" And I'm like, "He said it. There is proof."
we offered him a spot if he wants the fourth chair.
Anytime he's available, he'll show up.
So, but again, we just really appreciate that you guys are really tuning in. You guys are sending us your questions, doing all the top charts because, Ben likes to read.
Yeah.
And, things like that. And a lot of people, which we'll get into a little bit later, because there is a character that we all love that wasn't in the episode, this one. And a lot of people were very upset at our predictions last week about Lexa dying.
Oh, yes. That was not a fan favorite.
That was, got a lot of hate on that one. But
right.
we promise we don't want her to die.
No, I keep tweeting at the writers, don't kill Lexa, even though if she's dead, it's already written. But
I know, right?
But they can change. They can always refilm. Just paste her into the film.
Yeah.
I will Photoshop her in there. I will do it.
But let's talk about Clark and Camp Jaha real quick.
Yes, please.
Yes. Clark and Camp Jaha. Clark's so cool. Clark and Octavia are both so rad. Like that. If you think back to episode 1, the first, not the Star Wars, but if you think back to episode 1 of the 100th season 1.
Because I was getting angry.
I know.
So here are the highlights. We're back, bitches, from Octavia.
Right.
Yep.
And Clark sort of being given to us as like, this is going to be your female lead. Yeah. This is who you're going to be watching, leading your show. And she kind of, the first episode, the second episode, it felt like she was trying pretty hard. And it was like, I understand we talked about this, lead characters on shows. It's very difficult to get somebody who can carry a whole show.
Right.
So now here we are, and we've come, 25 episodes or 24 episodes in. And I, every time those two are on screen now, I feel like they've come the full 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's every time I'm like, is Octavia going to do something cool? Is Clark going to do something cool? I just expect it now.
And they deliver every time.
Especially this episode.
This episode was so sweet. Like that. I mean, yeah, I just love it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tauri.
So,
drop the mic.
No, not this mic.
You got to pick it up. It's expensive. Yeah, so we come in on Clark and Abby and a group of grounders riding through the forest, and they're being targeted by mountain men. Mm-hmm. And the mountain men are getting ready to snipe Clark when Octavia and her band of merry grounders come in, and they kill the sniper, who manages to get a shot off and kill Nico, which was sad, super duper sad. And then we realize, and by we, I mean Octavia, exposes that her being Clark and Lexa were the main targets of the mountain men, because they see them as the leaders. And this sparks Abby to be concerned about Clark, but Clark, at this point in her character development, is the leader, and she knows what to do most, which begins a whole slew of conflicts between them. I mean, do you guys feel like Abby is right to feel concern for Clark?
Well, she's a mom, so it's standard that she would feel concern. And we've talked about before how she is acting like a parent, even if it is short-sighted.
Yeah.
But we also talked a few episodes ago about how I think we we all agreed on it. Clark is going to become the leader of everyone. Yep. And the parents are not going to have authority anymore, and they're going to stop being able to give orders. And that's exactly what's happened. And I mean, in mid screening, we talked about this, and I mentioned it. I said I was annoyed that I felt like they were writing the parents to be the adults to just be sort of two-dimensional in some senses. Like they weren't seeing the forest for the trees. They weren't really seeing that the kids, in fact, do have control, and that the grounders don't respect the adults, and that they're gonna lose. And just like always, had to cross it out, because by the end of the episode, we're given exactly what they wanted to give us. We're supposed to feel they're just smarter than us is the problem.
I feel like you should save all your writing for the end of the episode.
But it's hard because then you'll miss it.
Because then you forget.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I did a lot of that. I did a lot of backspace on my iPad, but we were talking about this earlier about how I am a little upset that it is taking so long for the parents to just get on track. But at the same time, we're thinking like it's been weeks because that's what we're getting.
Yeah.
But really, it's actually been days because they're going day to day.
Right.
But at the same time, I totally agree with Abby that, her concern for her daughter and the fact that, I feel like obviously she still feels really responsible at the fact that her daughter had to go through this, but she also needs to realize your daughter went through this not by herself, but without you.
Yeah.
And again, no offense to the fans if, you guys are big, on Abby, but I feel like she got her justice today where she was like, all right, I need to step back. But I feel like it should have happened 2 episodes ago because I was actually just really annoyed with her because I'm like, you don't understand. You just got on the ground, technically.
Right.
If we're thinking by days. And Clark has been here for months, surviving and, worrying when the next food's going to come in, who's going to survive this. She's been patching up wounds, like, for months now. She has become cold-hearted because of the fact that she's had to see so much destruction. Mm-hmm. And I see that. I know that Kane can kind of see that, but at the same time, he knows, like, hey, you're stepping your line, or you're stepping over the line. Yeah. Which I'm glad that he can do that, but I feel like she has too much heart and soul into it, and I feel like that's what's going to get her killed. Yeah, which I'm not saying that she's going to die, but I mean, I feel like we were talking about earlier, which we'll get into predictions later, that I feel like she's going to push the line with a grounder, and she's going to get in trouble, and Clark's not going to be able to help her out because she messed up.
Here's a question for you guys. I thought about this. I tweeted at the writers. Do you guys... I'm starting to feel like if the adults were all to just be wiped out, nothing would change. What do you guys think? Like, let's just pretend that there was some bomb goes off or some attack and something, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Abby and Kane, Jaha's off on a mission of crazy, but Abby and Kane and let's say all the major soldiers we recognize, the adults, were all just wiped out at once. So that now the kids they'd be sad, they'd grieve. What would really change though? Like, what would really change about the plot? What would really change about the story aside from the kids just being more upset? What purpose do the adults really serve right now?
Moral compass?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, go ahead.
No, I mean, I feel like it's more Clark. I think more the kids, I mean, they're not really kids, but like the teens, I feel like they do think out their problems, but at the same time, I feel like they're just kind of headstrong. Like they just go for it, which is a good thing to have, especially in a survival kind of environment. But at the same time, I do like that the experience that adults do usually have that can kind of talk you down from, like, instead of you being angry and just rushing in like what Clark did.
Right, it's a little more sensible.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of take that step and they kind of breathe first before making a decision. I noticed that with Clark, Raven, Octavia, they kind of just, he did something, he needs to die, period. Right. So I feel like that's what I feel like without them, the moral compass would be kind of shot. But at the same time, I feel like they would just be fine.
Well, for the record, because I'm probably going to hear about this on YouTube, I'm not advocating for the adults to all die. That's not something.
That's not what we're saying.
It's not at all what I'm saying here. I was just sort of thinking about it in the context of the episode.
Yeah, you're asking what role they're playing at this point.
I think they could serve a stronger purpose, is I guess what I'm saying. Feels like the writers could give them a little bit more of a, instead of just being the foil constantly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which now they've done what we hoped they would, which has been served completely by the kids. So now they need to do something else more important.
Right.
Otherwise, they're just going to fade in the background.
I mean, and I'm personally fine with them fading into the background, mostly because the story itself started with the teens, and I feel like it should always be about them. The ARC people coming down and all the adults coming down was a plot point, and it was something that was there for the kids to deal with, but it also served to help show the growth of the kids and how they are ascending to be beyond the adults, and that they don't need it. So yes, they are being used as a tool at this point, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
same here.
Can we just talk about Octavia real fast? She didn't really get a lot of actually two. Octavia and Raven. First, let's touch on Octavia because neither one of them got much screen time this episode. Okay. Octavia is just purely a badass ninja warrior now, right? She's just like, that's...
Yes.
Every time she's on screen now is going to be super satisfying, and it seems like she's just going to get to fight and do awesome stuff.
Right.
So here's an interesting thing I noticed. When they introduced Octavia right at the beginning, and you thought she was going to be the second female lead. You thought she was going to be... The beginning, it seemed like she was going to be the... Christina Carpenter to Buffy.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a real old reference.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, but the second female lead. You thought she was going to get tons of screen time, right? As the show went on and on, it started to become like Raven, Lindsay Morgan seemed to be, she was the second female lead, and Octavia had less and less screen time. She was more and more in the background. Now it seems that we've come full circle, and it's like the other meatiest story is going to be Octavia. But I don't understand why Raven, after they broke her leg, she's just kind of become like a secondary or like third string character almost.
I feel
We're
like
not giving her much right now.
Well, I mean, maybe we just don't know because I mean, Ricky did warn us that we have no idea what's coming. So maybe Raven has a bigger purpose. They're just holding out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Right.
so. Aside from the whole like poisoning storyline, that's like the only thing that we've really gotten so far.
Yeah.
Since the leg break.
I mean, well, I feel like she played a really big role
Or the
this time
paralysis,
around.
not leg break. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gotta watch.
Yes. Like in this episode, we see that she's working behind the scenes. Like everything that happened in this episode was able to be pushed forward because of her. She created the containment unit. She's working on the sonic device that the mountain men use.
Yeah.
So she's playing a big role. Like she's not a super duper lead right now. Like she is, if anything, she is a well used supporting player.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I think it felt for a long time like she was moving up the ranks, sort of in terms of popularity amongst
Right.
fans and writers. She was going to have a really strong sort of second lead.
Yeah, and it also brought up the fact that in season 1 she kind of had a lot more screen time because she was fixing everything, and obviously with the Finn,
Right.
Clark, triangle, and then for a minute there was was it Bellamy and then her, and
Yeah.
then it was. So I feel like her story was a lot more involved with everybody because she was a new character.
Sure.
But now because they're trying to incorporate technically the whole arc, or at least what's left of it, and everybody, I feel like Raven is, and with her disability, if you want to bring that up, like I feel like she is doing important things, but it's definitely just in the background right now. And
Yeah.
I feel
Right.
like probably later on she will have to do something, and she'll probably be the focus, the main focus in whatever episode that comes up.
Yeah, like if you play Final Fantasy VII, she's like Sid,
Sure.
fixing
Okay.
things,
There
doing
you go.
stuff,
I
showing
didn't
up
even
when
think
she needs
about
to.
that.
Yeah,
It's a good
Nice.
reference.
Thank
I
you.
like that.
but yeah. So why don't we? Yeah. Anyways, the Mountain Man, Carl.
I'm so glad that you got his name because I was sitting there going,
Yeah.
God, I
He
did not
said
remember
it.
this man's
Emerson.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Emerson. A million times. That's all he would say.
I was sitting there typing
Carl
the whole
Emerson.
time. I didn't hear that.
Did you wish that she had killed him? There was a minute where I was like, I just wish
I'm really
Clark.
glad that she didn't. Though.
Yeah, because I felt like if she would have killed him, it would have been like being back on the Ark. Like, because that's what the
Yeah.
Ark does. They
Right,
go,
float you.
you've transgressed. You have to go to
Yeah.
death now.
Yeah.
And I was glad that it was a point of contingency because we've seen that torture doesn't work.
Nope.
So they needed a new plan. And I love that it allowed us to get that awesome moment with Clark where she is like, all right, my solution is to send him back with a message.
Right.
And the message was awesome.
You didn't love it, huh?
I'm so proud of Clark.
Yes.
I am extremely, like we were talking about this earlier, and I do want to read something later before we end the show, that her whole story, her whole arc, her, not to play on words there, and like just everything about her, she is so strong, and I loved everything about it until she let out 2 hours of oxygen out of his suit.
Right.
That pissed me off.
Why?
I'm sorry, guys. You can get on me if you want. I'm going to do this now.
Explain yourself.
I'm a little upset because she wants to get this long message to Mount Weather. Fine. I understand that you're trying to motivate him to be faster, to get there faster. And obviously from the preview, he does get there in time. That's great. But the bad thing is, I like that, I don't know if it was Abby or, no, it was Octavia who brought it up, like, what's that going to do? Because in my brain, I'm going, what if he actually doesn't survive and actually doesn't make it in 6 hours? Then what?
Meh.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
dead.
I know,
Right,
but
yeah.
it's like, I feel like she's like, I feel like it doesn't do anything. And yes, okay, he dies, and that was justice, whatever. I get that. But at the same time, I thought the whole point was to let them focus on something else so that Bellamy can get out. If he doesn't make it, then what?
It's true. I mean, it was like a little bit of like a petty, like, make up your mind. You're trying to
Yeah.
do both things, and if he dies, then you're right.
That's the only thing that made me upset. Everything else that she did, on point, I was rooting for her the whole time until she did that. And I was like, okay, great. So if he dies, Bellamy dies, and then you guys, as she said, all dies. End of the 100. Like,
I
don't know.
I get that. I will say my point of contention with that sequence was that, so up until now, the show has been about super duper awesome badass females.
Yeah.
So now, and I know that Bellamy he's a fan favorite.
People love him.
Yes.
But we would argue that Clark is the main character, yes?
Yeah. Oh yeah. For
So
sure.
having their whole plan now being hinged upon this one male character, having him be the key to everything, I feel like that undermines the main character's mission.
I never thought about it that way.
Well, Bellamy's not going to succeed. Clark's gonna have to save him.
Yeah, that's exactly
That's what's
what I was
gonna
thinking.
happen. But I mean, I guess I'm jumping into predictions, but I don't see how Bellamy is gonna be able to do it all by himself in Mount Weather. So it seems like there will be probably like a whole awesome culmination of events that happens in Mount Weather. Where, but no, I see your point. My issue with that moment was that when she says to her mom, when she's like, I'm in charge now.
Yeah.
You may be the chancellor, but I'm in charge. And then she lets the guy go. Mm-hmm. I know I like to reference Walking Dead a lot because it's another post-apocalyptic show that's very popular and I love it. But there was a great scene in this season where essentially there's just like a brutal murder of some villainous characters in a church, which, I mean, that's not the point. But it was one of these moments in the show where you're watching and they teased you a lot leading up to it. They teased you a lot, like you were like, oh, they're not really going to just do this.
Okay.
And then they did it. And it was like kind of this jaw-dropping moment of like, wow, like we're getting exactly what we wanted. And that's why I was sort of like, when she lets him go and she drains the oxygen, it's just like, no, he like, it's not gonna, like, great, send him back and have them look for a secret army. It's a cool plan. Just kill him. They're killing your friends. You're in charge. Go storm Mount Weather. Like, it was to me, it was so close to being just like this like impactful moment of her taking charge. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
I just sort of felt like I almost wanted her to just open the airlock, let him burn to death, walk outside, do the same thing and say to her mom, we're going to go win. Bellamy's in there and he's doing this thing and just headstrong. Like, I am Tom Brady and I believe I won't lose a Super Bowl, so I'm just going to go for it.
I'm surprised you've been using that reference.
It's hurtful to me.
I was like,
But that's the
yikes.
thing. I read an article today. It was like, it's like the charmed factor of winners, essentially in sports, is that they believe they can't lose.
Right.
Clark's a winner. She should believe she can't lose. So like trying to create this diversion. I don't know. It's fine that she sent it back. I felt
It's
like
a strategic maneuver.
yeah, but she drained 2 hours of oxygen. What if he suffocates?
Because
That's what I'm saying.
She's
because
okay
it's
with it or
petty.
something?
I mean,
It was
all right,
petty.
I think that it was a moment where you're like, all right, she's a leader, but she's also still a teenager.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
I'll
fair.
take that back. That's a very... Damn it, Tauri.
That's what I'm here for.
I mean, it also showed that, like, okay, you can't mess with Clark anymore. Like, I mean, I feel like she's always meant business, but that right there showed, like, it doesn't matter if you're doing the right thing, I will still mess you up at one point in time. Which I feel like we never really had any doubt about that, but at the same time, it's just a good reminder. But I feel like she was trying to go 2 steps forward and then she went 5 steps back.
Right.
That was just me. But I totally understand that was a good way of showing, like, hey, she's a great leader, but she's also probably just 18.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're all kids. I mean, all right. So then, jumping into everything going horribly wrong, shall we tackle
Yes,
predictions?
Jump into predictions.
Yes, please.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
Really?
We should just have Ben do the sound.
I know,
every
right?
time.
It's like, we don't need that.
He's scatting. It's crazy.
Oh my god, what is happening?
And now, getting predictions, Bateman's going to scat. Your turn, sorry.
Tell us what you got.
I think that it's going to go horribly wrong. I think Bellamy will probably accomplish something cool, but ultimately will fail, and we'll need the help of everybody, and probably Ricky Whittle will do something cool. Lincoln will do something cool, but it'll be a that moment we predicted was going to happen a long time ago when he was first a Reaper, and we were like, it's going to be the Beauty and the Beast moment with Octavia. That'll happen now, and that's
Okay.
that's going to be the ultimate him coming out of it. And I don't know what's going to happen to President Wallace.
Well, though, now that she is a grounder, do you think that her hardcore nature will...
No, I think she'll totally melt like butter when she sees him, especially in his state right now. I feel like she will feel that she was mostly paying attention to herself and trying to grow as a person, and that even though they're in a relationship, that she will go, oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about his actual weakness, which is the drug addiction.
She's become the woman that he wants. She's not only going to cook him dinner, she's going to hunt it and then cook it.
Yeah, pretty much. But at the same time, she will still have a soft spot, especially for this situation.
Oh, the grounder way is any sign of weakness is death.
But Octavia didn't really take that. I feel like she didn't really take that. She was just like, oh my God, I have a cool trainer now. Her name's, Indra, and I'm going to be badass.
Right.
I don't think she was thinking about the consequences of becoming a warrior and having to deal with the right and the wrong when it comes to sacrificing your loved ones, which obviously Clark has learned from Lexa, which I do want to get into because apparently I was the only person on this panel that did not see
We didn't really talk about it. That connection.
I mean, yeah. I saw that there was a deep connection, like they cared about each other, but not the love thing. I didn't catch that. Apparently a lot of fans caught it, and you guys did too. And I was
out our foibles.
I saw that they were having like wonderful moments together.
Yeah.
I know that everyone in our comments wanted them to make out in that moment.
I did, but I wasn't thinking of it as an actual thing. I was just like, oh, they're kind of cute together, as in like,
I mean, but
now kiss.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fight, kiss.
Yeah.
Well,
that's literally what it was happening in my brain. I don't know.
No, I mean, I don't think that they would even go that direction. I mean, Rothenberg has said that he cares nothing for like shipping. That's not his focus in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
And I also feel like, and it's like the whole hero's journey thing, and that like the person leading you has to go away in order for you to proceed as a.
Don't say that and make the fans all.
I know. I'm just saying. Maybe she'll go off and find the Land of Light. She'll be like, I hear that one of your people went to find the Land of Light, and so I'm gonna do that too to bring more soldiers.
Well, another thing for
living.
Yeah.
It will be the two of your turns to predict, but I wanted to just add really quickly, as well as Lindsay Morgan, who we love, so please tweet her all the time. I love Lexa. I think she's fantastic, and she's about to be on the Walking Dead spinoff.
I know.
And it's gonna take all of her time and energy if she doesn't die on this show. So please, guys, Alicia Debnam Carey, tweet at her to try to get her on here. Because I have a feeling she's probably in LA. I'm guessing, but
you never know.
Or maybe she's filming Walking Dead. That would make more sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But if she is, tweet at her because we think she's so cool. We want to get her in here. Tari, predictions.
I'm predicting that we're gonna. I mean, in the preview, we see them being Mount Weather shooting a missile. So news of a secret army would lead them to believe that they should get rid of the army that they know about.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that missile actually hits and we get to deal with that fallout because it puts our heroes in more dire straits than they already were in. It's that we're having a heroic moment. Shutdown moment. So I want that.
You're hoping the adults all get wiped out. That's what you're saying?
Totally. All the adults and all the grounders.
Lie. That's the first thing I thought of was when you said that. I was like, that would really suck if, like, let's say Clark's like, Mom, you need to stay here. We need to figure it out on our own. And as they're probably either on their way to Mount Weather or something happens, the missile hits and it kills whoever is at Camp Jaha.
Well, Raven would die then, which can't happen.
Well, we don't know. Raven might try to. Yeah, she could go ahead.
Because
she has the soundy frequency guys.
Yeah, so she might need to fix it.
She has a Batman leg brace, so she can just do everything.
Oh my god, I totally didn't think that she had a Dark Knight leg brace. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Before we go, we probably need to make sure we covered everything.
Okay. Yes.
Do you remember if we missed any scenes before we end?
Well, Monty is okay.
Well,
he
obviously,
he's okay. All the 47 have been locked into a room. 47, I think, minus Clark. Or 46 minus Clark.
Yeah.
47 now that Bellamy's there.
Yeah, there you
Numbers. But yeah, all of them have been locked into a room because now they're going full steam ahead with Marrow takey outie.
Do you think that they're gonna just stay in there for a little long time, or are they just gonna start taking people out?
I think they're gonna try to take people out little by little, but now their focus is gonna be on defending themselves, not necessarily harvesting, because the people there are essentially their prisoners. They don't have to focus on them as much. They want to get rid of the immediate threat. Is what my thoughts are.
The last thing, by the way, before we do sign-offs, did you do your predictions yet?
My prediction was that when the missile hits, someone important in the camp is probably going to get hurt, or a lot of people are going to get hurt. Or if it doesn't hit the camp directly, it's going to hit somewhere close. And either Abby, Kane, or whoever's going to be just walking by or in that area, and then, they get hurt or something like that. Because I really can't see anybody huge getting hurt or anything like that.
Too early.
It's too early. So I feel like either some sort of side character or some sort of group that we semi-care about or just throws off the camp is going to cause problems, which is what I feel like it needs to be done, is that we're on this huge high at this point, and now it's time to bring us back down to the ground. No pun intended. But wait, did you do your
I think
prediction?
you mean
I did
every
my predictions.
pun that you do.
What I was going to say really quickly, though, the last that we didn't talk about it because he wasn't in the episode, was Jaha went off to the City of Light, and it was the end of the last episode. So there's a writer I've talked about on here before, Selena Wilkin, who writes for Hypeable, and I've shared her articles before, and I just wanted to give her another shout out because she wrote a couple this week. One about Jaha, one about just things that are going on in the show right now that she's noticed. She's a great writer, at Selena Wilkin, and she writes really intelligent stuff about this show that give me a lot of ideas. So if you guys haven't checked her out, definitely read her stuff. She's like, I think, one of the better voices about this show right now. Yeah. And she has a great piece about Jaha, which is awesome. Rothenberg has also shared it, which is how she got on my radar originally. So she's on to something.
Awesome.
Mine's a fan shout out. It's our favorite. It's Jill.
Yeah.
She just started her own blog. It is called Jill Bauer 1993.blogspot. And the one thing I didn't get to finish reading it, but the one thing I did love in the whole thing was how she talked about Clark, in which we usually always talk about how strong she is.
Yes.
And she said, I'm going to just kind of squeeze it all in here, that there's a lot more to say about Clark that we don't know about yet, obvious reasons.
Right.
Her compassion, instinctual wisdom, her courage, her amazing journey to become a leader of the Sky People. I intend to post next week about a more detailed comparison to her to Adema. I think I said that wrong, but I apologize. But she said, but for now, I just want to, with a quick mention, indeed, that the 100 lacks in comparison. Oh wait, no, she's getting into Battlestar Galactica. But anyway, so
Adama.
Yeah,
okay,
Adama.
Yes.
I read it wrong because I'm glasses. But she just, the way that she talks about Clark and how the fact that her journey has been so large in this, even though we know that she's our main character, even though we had to pay attention to a ton of different people starting from day one to how it is now, it really shows that, even though she is 18 and, she still doesn't know everything, the fact that, that she's gone through so much loss and so much things that she can still get up every day and be like, I want to get these people out. And I really like that she brought that up in her blog, but she's going to be posting more. So.
Yeah,
we love Jill Bauer. Go check her stuff out. She's our super fan.
Yeah, I'll tweet out the link to her blog
me too.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
and I'll either tweet or retweet. Shall we sign off?
Yes,
please.
Let's sign off. Thank you for joining us here on AfterBuzz TV. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and rate. And where can they find you, Mr. Ben Bateman?
Ben Bateman Media on all social media platforms, preferably Twitter and Instagram.
Alexis Torres.
Torres890 on Twitter, Instagram, and possibly Facebook now.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. That's TaurijAY. Thank you for joining us, and remember to stay grounded.
Bye, guys.
Executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.